Hi, I'm Kari Yates.
And I'm Jan Burkins, and we're the authors of Shifting the Balance, 6 Ways to Bring the Science of Reading into the Balanced Literacy Classroom.
And Jan, you're getting ready for some company. How's that going?
I am. I've been rearranging furniture and had this insight, this sort of irrelevant insight last night, that the living room, which we never use, is just this little room right inside the front door, that we're going to repurpose that room with our fitness equipment, which is in the basement and also never used because it's in the basement. So we're going to try repurposing the living room as a fitness room. Probably not ideal. If Martha Stewart were here, she probably would frown on that, but practically speaking, I think it might be good for us. What do you think?
I think that sounds good. I think that sounds like you're going to make space in your home for the thing you're trying to make space for in your routine.
Yeah.
And we've been kind of focused on this idea of how, really incredible it is that kids learn to read, and the idea of all of the brain kind of reorganization, repurposing that has to go on there. And so I'm making that connection as you're talking about shuffling furniture. Of course, hopefully when kids are learning to read, they don't, make the adjustments and then it doesn't all go back to the way it started, which is what always happens with me. When I start to shuffle furniture, I usually end up with it right back.
Right. You have to try it in every position to know that the way you started was where it needed to be.
Right. I've since learned in my marriage, it's better if I just push the furniture around myself, because my partner isn't that excited when we end up right back where we started 2 hours later.
We've done a fair amount of that too, but it's a cool connection to the idea that spaces in the brain can be repurposed in order to serve reading, because reading an alphabetic system is not natural, at least the part where we're working with the code.
Right.
The language comprehension part does happen naturally, but the decoding part takes using a part of the brain, kind of like the living room of the brain, and deciding that it's going to be the fitness space instead. And
I think the other important piece is that phonemic awareness part of learning to read requires that phonological processing system not get right, like it has to sort of do double duty. So it's like
that's true.
Be the living room and the fitness center all at once.
So in this metaphor, the living room furniture stays in there and the exercise bike goes in, and Nadie's weights stay in there too. Well, that's interesting. That's interesting. That helps me kind of understand the brain better. So yeah. So
well,
I just work out when guests come over and want to sit and chat.
Yeah. So, but seriously, one of the things that is important to understand as we're trying to move toward more science-aligned instruction in our classrooms, it is important to understand the ways in which the brain has to kind of reinvent itself on the path to reading. And when we as educators understand that, then we'll start to understand the ways our instruction has to shift in order to become more aligned with that work that has to happen to create that sort of highly efficient superhighway of new ways of connecting in the brain.
And we talk more about this in a blog, which is linked in the description below. And we would love to connect with you at our site, the6shifts.com.
And Jan,
yes,
company's coming.
Company's coming. I gotta go.
Go. Okay. Goodbye.
Bye.